Men of Reddit, what are some immediate red flags in men that women should look out for? This is one most women learn themselves around high school but still worth mentioning now. If Hess an asshole to everyone but you, that doesn't mean he thinks you're special. It means he is an asshole but knows how to not be an asshole in order to get laid. Even if he treats you different better than everyone now, he will treat you the same way he treats everyone else eventually. Lesson learned. That's not necessarily true. He could treat you even worse because now Hess tricked you. Avoid people who are very polite and charming when they want something from those above them, but are arrogant and demanding when they think they can take something from those below them. People who smile up and kick down are the worst. Yep. You can tell a lot about the character of anyone by the way they treat those they don't have to treat well. Along the lines of character is who you are in the dark. How you are when you don't have anyone checking you. When nobody's checking, I'm in my PJs, watching YouTube cookery shows, and eating an entire cheesecake. When people are checking, I'll share the cheesecake. Begrudgingly. You and I must be the same person. Have you watched Tasting History with Max Miller? It's my favorite. I was just going to recommend that channel. I love the hardtack episode. Tack. Lack of respect for boundaries. Pushing small boundaries that aren't a big deal. Then, once called out on it, backpedaling, apologizing for it and then doing it again. My old boss and current supervisor. Yeah, I find it fascinating that an abusive relationship with a boss can be very similar to an abusive relationship with a partner. In the end, they're both relationships. Tried to find a less common one. For people looking for a long-term partner, beware when someone complains about everything and is seemingly the victim in every situation. This is the type of person that will very quickly blame you if anything goes wrong, and is likely shitting on you to other people already. Secondly, it means you will be perpetually drained by the negativity over the long haul. I think I used to be like that. I went through some shit alright, but I think it became just a very, very good excuse. I got better by taking as much responsibility as I could. This by trying to be as honest as I could. Like I'd fight with my wife and it started out, in my head, as she's wrong, I'm right. But I tried to honestly ask myself, even if she was wrong, how many percent the escalation was my fault? Like, could there be something, anything at all that I could have done better, to make the situation better? Turn out when you ask this question, damn, the answer is yes, almost always. It's hard work, but my wife and I are still together. I heard someone say when you're arguing with your partner, it shouldn't be you versus your partner, it should be you and your partner versus the problem. Like you said, in almost every situation that leads to a fight, both parties are to some extent responsible, and if both people can identify where their responsibility lies and works to better themselves, it will help your relationship immensely. Me and my wife both grew up with parents that fought each other to win, and it often got nasty, and in an effort to not end up like that, we have solved a lot of problems in our marriage by working together. When you're arguing with your partner, it shouldn't be you versus your partner, it should be you and your partner versus the problem. I love that approach. Something I try to keep in mind is a, kinda cliched, thing from Covey's 7 Habits book: seek first to understand, then be understood. I often find that if someone's upset, me, a partner, I may not fully understand the nature of the problem. Asking questions and trying to understand with empathy is part of working with a partner to fix a problem. Emotional manipulation, trying to guilt trap you. To give an example, I was hearing from a friend who's a woman currently dating, telling you that you're being jealous, when they're intentionally creating situations which would cause that. This guy in particular was continually describing past experiences with girls and how aspects of that were better than what my friend had with him currently. That example also falls into trying to damage and hurt your self-esteem and break down your self-worth so you rely on them for validation. A very toxic trait. Also, always being negative in regards to wife-girlfriend and to good things that happen to her. Might be a pessimistic person, but if it happens constantly, that can hurt emotionally and damage the partner's self-esteem. Example: wife, remember that job I was interviewed for? I got accepted. Abusive husband, they hired you just so they can pay you minimum wage because of you not having prior experience in the job, so your rate is cheaper. Edit. The example is an actual conversation. This is just sad. Your partner needs to be your hype man woman. Agreed, in my idea of a healthy relationship, the partner should be as so's hype man woman, and also give some outside opinion. The partner shouldn't be as so's roast me comments page. This. My wife and I have a rule. We never complain about each other in front of other people. We had a couple we were friends with that did this shit. Like constantly putting each other down in front of other people. Why even be in a relationship like that? Inability to compromise. Huge. The sole reason for my divorce. People ask all the time why, if we seem so great together, we broke up decade marriage. It became impossible to live and be with him. His way or no way. I can't live like that. Sounds like my dad. You either have to accept that he is right, or drop it and never mention it again. Otherwise he'll scream things like, I am your father, you're a fool, how dare you. Did everyone just have the same father? Only talks about themselves. Hi. What's your name? Bob. Great. But that's enough about you, Bruce, let's talk about me. Enough about me, let's talk about you. What do you think about me? Refusing to admit that they could possibly be wrong. I have seen many men get super frustrated and aggressive over the idea that they could be possibly wrong about something. To add on to this, many of these same men, when presented with the proof of them being wrong, they will either deflect or make it seem like it doesn't matter and that you were making such a big deal about this. We are all humans and we all make mistakes. I feel for many of these men, they feel stupid and less manly if they are wrong about something. Being able to accept your mistakes and move on is a healthy trait. Suddenly flying off the handle at a minor inconvenience. It's one thing to stub your toe at the end of a bad day and give the table a whack. It's another if every moment of stress or misfortune triggers rage. I was dating a girl and forgot to lock her car door when we got out to go into a Walgreens for some snacks. She absolutely lost it. Like screaming and crying. For about 20 minutes. I just sat silently, took it, and then asked to meet her the next day and broke up with her because I was not comfortable with that explosion over anything. Especially a mistake that I could have easily just started paying more attention to. Sexual pressure after you directly reject an advance. Healthy people with your interests in mind only need to hear no one time and are respectful of boundaries if they bring it up again in the future. Inability to clean up after themselves or do common household tasks. This. I've tried telling my brother's GF that he's basically completely incapable of taking care of himself, but she keeps believing as well. I work nights and I don't want to wake anyone up. BS. If he talks about his ex too much. As someone who was in love with an ex for way too long, I was not ready for a relationship with anyone else. Some red flags are not signs the person is malicious, sometimes they are signs they are not ready for a new relationship. That can be really painful too, because they may have lots of great qualities and none of the obvious red flags, like eventually they will be someone who will be a great partner. So you stay for longer than you should, hoping they become ready for that new relationship while dating you. But truth is, most people don't get to that point while in a new relationship, you usually have to get there on your own. It's entirely possible to meet someone who should be a great match for you, but be a painful and bad relationship to actually date them because of the timing. Yeah, but at that point you need to recognize it early, and just let them know, hey, I think you are really great, but you clearly aren't over X, we can be friends and someday when you are over them maybe we can try again if we are both still single. When he is just a collection of squirrels in a trench coat. At least this way you'll definitely get a nut. All of their ex-partners are crazy. I have a former friend like this. While his exes tended to be crazy, he was even crazier. I think crazy attracts crazy. If Hess cheating on someone else with you, he will absolutely cheat on you with someone else. When a man leaves his wife and marries his mistress, it creates a job opening.